What do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
From her What Do You Mean channel.
Everything is politics. Everything is politics. So what do you mean, like, oh, he started talking politics? When you wake up in the morning and take your medication, you know that's politics, right? Because those pills you took were approved by the FDA. There are regulations to make sure that those pills are safe. When you have your breakfast cereal, there are laws about how that milk is made, how it's regulated. When you drive on the road, that's politics. There's a speed limit. The speed limit was, debated. The infrastructure was paid for by tax dollars. Everything about every aspect of life is politics, which is one of the main reasons why I'm really interested in politics, because it's all-encompassing. It's how we organize a society, what rules there are, what we fund, what we don't fund, what we leave to the private market, what we leave for the public sector. So for him to use that, like, there he goes again, politics. Not only does that mean nothing, that means less than nothing. You're not saying anything. 100 companies are responsible for 71% of global emissions. Let me repeat that. 100 companies are responsible for 71% of global emissions. So what does that mean? What that means is, no matter how much hand-wringing you do and blaming the individual you do and hypocrisy-burning individual people you do, that wouldn't even put a little tiny dent in climate change. Every other person who talks about climate change could wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to do zero carbon emissions. And guess what? Nothing would change. Because 100 companies are responsible for 71% of emissions, which means the only way to fix this is through systemic reform, is through regulation, is through a new economy with green and renewable technology. So when you try to hypocrisy burn people because he took a plane and you look like the biggest idiot on the planet, and I can't even put into words for you how that immediately delegitimizes you in the eyes of any serious person anywhere. So stop. Just stop. Just stop. It's not a coincidence, for example, that ExxonMobil gives millions and millions of dollars in lobbying every election cycle, and then lo and behold, every time they vote on a $4 billion annual subsidy to ExxonMobil, it happens to pass! Could it be because they lobbied Congress? I'm not sure. There's no chance they would help out small businesses, but look at ExxonMobil, which is already one of the most profitable corporations in the world, and they get a $4 billion subsidy every single year. Why is that? The reason is simple. It's because they're giving money to the politicians, so the politicians give money back to them. It's a game. It's a ruse. It's open bribery. It's open corruption, By the same token, when the Great Recession happened and the subprime mortgage crisis and the stock market crashed in 2008, why is it that they only let a handful of those businesses fail and then they ran in and said, we're going to prop up everything else. Here's a blank check of taxpayer money. Why did they do that? Because, again, those are all the same companies and corporations and investment banks and commercial banks that gave money to the politicians in the first place. So when they get in trouble, it's I scratch your back, you scratch mine. They're always going to look out for each other because they are part of the same country clubs. They're part of the good old boys club. They rub elbows on the cocktail circuit. They are the same people, okay? And they pass money back and forth. They have an open system of bribery going all the way back to Buckley versus Vallejo when the Supreme Court decided money equals free speech. Then Citizens United made it worse. Then McCutcheon made it even worse. And what we're looking at here is a system that's totally rigged. A system that's totally rigged in favor of the rich, in favor of the billionaires.